Now we move on to the next paper. The paper is entitled The Typographic Poster from Local Culture to the World. This is by Mónica Acosta Torres. She's from University Technical of the Norte from Ecuador. Okay, so over to you, Mónica. Please go ahead.
Good evening. I am Mónica Acosta, a graphic design professor at Universidad Técnica del Norte in Ecuador, South America. It is an honor for me to present this paper, Typographic Poster from Local Culture to the World. When we talk about typographic poster from local culture, it is important to consider where the authors come from, what surrounds him, what interested him within his context. Regardless of the author's context, the message has to come across by anyone who sees his posters. Students at Universidad Técnica del Norte work with a different theme each year. In 2018, students create their posters based on the word consume. Students based their projects on their experience with consumerism, pollution as a result of big corporations selling their products without social responsibility, human trafficking as a way to show power over weaker people to sell them as products, consumerism and self-destruction. All these visions are embodied by typographic elements, objects as letters, bodies with letters, colors that embodied feelings, geometry, variety of shapes, and the way light is seen in the picture. Students have used typography to generate reflection in people. Some posters represent a doomed vision of a concept, whereas other posters meant to bring hope. Typographic development in Latin America begins with the adoption of the written word and the inheritance of European typography, graphic styles, modernism, and postmodernism. Nowadays, Latin America is rediscovering its pre-Columbian graphic heritage through formal research and experimentation. Pre-Columbian graphic can be observed in textiles and ceramics. And symbolism consider evidence of Andean identity that's still present in contemporary design. The study of the local graphics shows interesting things. The pre-Columbian graphic identity of Andean ancestral cultures, symbolism and abstract thinking, the visual legacy of the Chacana, and also known as the Southern Cross, the Hamacoaque stamps, and the ceramics of the Pasto culture. In this picture of Huamampoma, we see the Inca astrologer and poet who knows the movement of the sun, the moon, and the winds to sow food. 2000 years ago, geometry was taught in sculpture and textiles, as in the case of Stella Raimondi, which is a monolith of the Chavin culture. And also it is an application of Andean sacred geometry in Peru. Another example is the layout to build cities based on constellations and represented on Earth according to sacred animals, such as in my city, Ibarra, where the jaguar is seen. In my case in Ecuador, the design method begins with the linguistic approach to subject, then there is a visual approach, and finally visual narrative is experienced with all graphic resources, which responds to the project from the point of view of each student. Students receive a brief where they have a references to carry out with their typographic poster. They read and analyze the brief, create mind maps, brainstorm ideas, among other techniques that use words to encourage the development from linguistic thinking to texts. A collaborative semantic network is built to allow users to list words and create associations of new ideas. The mental process begins to relate to the objective, gives an opinion of the subject, and expresses an idea in a typographic poster. Visual approach. This stage develops a visual exploration where maps are made with graphics, clippings, or mood boards to connect all the information gathered and be inspired by it to bring up something new. These visual reference boards allows the students to see other existing visual messages. Once this process has taken place, it is necessary to write a central concept, which marks the personal point of view of the student to create the typographic poster. Experimentation. In this stage, sketches and experimental typography are developed. The idea becomes a graphic proposal, and different materials such as photos, paintings, objects are manipulated. Then it is time to try different techniques and ways to see the idea. Thinking comes in regard to typography as an experiment, typography as an image. Now, these are posters created by students where this area knowledge is present. Here we see visual references, construction, proposal, and the typographic poster. Spirals, colors, fractals, dots and lines, geometry. Ecuador, as part of Latin America, relies on technical studies of global trends for the development and improvement of the quality of higher education. One trend is internationalization, which according to James Nye is defined as the process of integration in an international, intercultural, or global dimension with the objective, functions, or restoration of post-secondary education. Now let's talk about TypeUnite. TypeUnite is a collaborative project that has offered at Universidad Técnica del Norte the interaction with professors and students from different countries to develop typographic posters. The countries included in this project are China, Denmark, Ecuador, Hungary, Indonesia, Mexico, Poland, South Korea, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, and the United States of America. All these countries have been working together to create a typographic poster from local culture to the world. Editions of TypeUnite. In 2017, the topic was 7 Cultures, Unique and Connected, presented in Dubai Design Week. The uniqueness of each country was discussed. The language's symbolic elements were studied. Coincidences such as constellations, food, or the decoding of abstraction were also searched. In 2018, they explored the environment to make criticism about consumerism in several areas. The reflections generate on consumption and its extremes produce multiple ideas representing graphics, texts, mergers, experiments with photography, and creation of letters from the concept. In 2019, the theme was Language Relations. They investigated the different forms of communication. Typographic posters are a sign of the progression and transformation of the design culture. Design students are open for new references, which inspire and connect this projection with a more contemporary one. Globalization is represented by English as a universal language, and each country has its own language. The languages of other countries are a vision of unity and diversity. Ecuadorian students use the English language to express their ideas. Some make translations into other languages. The posters incorporate texts such as image, texture, or volume. The posters of all countries show a high visual value. There are various graphic styles, diversity of colors, compositions, and there are also so many creative coincidences. To conclude, typography teaching grows when the internationalization is involved as a way of doing global and local exploration to create messages that are easy to understand. A posters is for all people in order to generate reflection, and the typographic posters communicates a powerful message through the creative use of letters and shapes. Internationalizations go hand in hand with the implementation of information and communication technologies in education and requires a paradigm shift towards complexity. This process initiates the transformation from classic educational theories to connectivism. Typionite, as a classroom project, inserts an approach to local and global, since it interacts with the design students from other countries who speak different languages, who have a different visual heritage, however, do the same work with the different results. I am grateful with all the professors and students who have been part of this worldwide collaborative project. Posters can change people's lives. Thank you, Typo Day, for the opportunity to share this incredible experience with all of you.
Thank you so much, Monica. That is a wonderful presentation on, connecting up with other schools, and it's a transcultural project, very nicely, presented with the design process and how your students actually are involved with this. Yeah, wish you can take it forward. Many schools would like to do this, right? Yeah. Thanks so much. Please wait for the questions. Yeah. So we'll move on to the next speaker now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.